2025 just got even better for cozy gamers. Now, we just had the biggest Nintendo Direct ever, and even though it wasn't the Animal Crossing news that we were all hoping for, there is still a ton to look forward to. Now, before we get into everything that was just announced, there were a few big things that were missing other than, an Animal Crossing announcement. And that's the release date of Witchbrook, Coffee Talk Tokyo, and also the brand new Professor Layton that are all supposedly coming out before the end of the year, but still in mid-September don't have a release date. Now, even though none of these were in the Nintendo Direct, there is a Tokyo Game Show happening in just a few weeks, which could be the time where we could get news about any of these. And it is worth noting that I've looked on all of the social media channels, and so far none of them have been officially delayed. So we have no reason to not expect them to come sometime later this year. Just hopefully we'll get some news soon. So now we've got that disclaimer out of the way, let's get into all of the cozy gaming news, because not all of it actually came from the Nintendo Direct. And starting us off today is Dinkum, as this just got announced to be coming to the Nintendo Switch on November 5th, and it has a free demo which you can check out right now. Now, Dinkum is a game that I've played a fair amount of hours on PC. It's a very easy game to jump in and out of, which makes it perfect for being in handheld. And if you somehow haven't heard of Dinkum before, this is a life sim set in the outback. So imagine Animal Crossing, but the villagers are actually real animals that will bite you. Now, in this, you travel to a completely empty island to escape your boring life in the city, and it's your job to turn this into a home. And as you progress through the game, you'll be able to convince other people to come and live on this island with you, setting up shops and stalls of their own, which will help you in your adventures. And this is a game where there's always something to do, from different missions to help out some of the islanders, to decorating, and even submitting the wildlife you find to the museum. Now, you might have noticed there is a little bit of a difference between the footage you saw at the beginning of me talking about Dinkum and the footage you've seen at the end of me talking about Dinkum and now. And that's because what you're seeing right now is actually demo footage captured on the Nintendo Switch. And whilst I am glad that the Switch is an option for people who don't have a PC, it also at the moment isn't performing at its best. There are some pretty big frame drops, especially when things are loading. That all makes me hope that in the next couple of months they manage to patch this out before the game goes live. But I am glad that you can play the demo right now and decide for yourself if this looks good enough for you to buy it. Now, the next announcement you might have missed, as it was on screen for all of 3 seconds in the Nintendo Direct. And that is the news that 2 Point Museum is coming to the Switch 2 on October 28th. Now, I can't show any Switch 2 footage of 2 Point Museum because as of right now, it doesn't exist. There's about 10 seconds total in 2 directs that this game has shown up in, but there is absolutely no extended gameplay whatsoever that I can find online. And this even includes the eShop page, which again has no video footage. So this is just the generic trailers, so just bear that in mind. Now, even though I absolutely love 2 Point Hospital, I didn't love 2 Point Campus nearly as much. But thankfully, after playing 2 Point Museum a bit on my PC, I can gladly say it's filled with so much of what I loved about 2 Point Hospital. As this is a management game that puts its very own spin on it. As in 2 Point Museum, not only are you in charge of managing the entire museum, doing everything from placing exhibits, hiring staff, building rooms, and even decorating, you're also in charge of getting the new exhibits to display by sending your staff members on expeditions to find them. But the thing is, you better make sure they're kitted out or they might not return from their expedition. Now, the game itself is actually split into different levels, each with their own challenges that shake up the gameplay a little bit to keep things interesting. Like, for example, one of the museums that you have to manage has a real problem with thieves that makes you play completely different to the way you played in your last museum. Now, despite the fact that this has an eShop page already, we still don't know if you can actually use the mouse features of the Switch 2 yet, as I think this would make it a great console to buy the game on compared to the others, but I guess we're going to have to wait for more information to see. It is worth noting though that sadly, as of this moment, this will be a Switch 2 exclusive. Now, the next game I'm a little bit worried about, not for me, but actually for my mum's sake. And that is that the Suika game, otherwise known as the watermelon game, is getting a sequel. And this one is named Suika Planet. And my mum already has about 40 to 50 hours in the Suika game, so I'm not sure I'm going to tell her about this one, honestly. Now, this carries along the same concept, where you combine fruit with each other to make larger fruit and scoring more points as you combine them. But instead of this being inside of a jar where the game ends when you fill it, it's around a orb instead. And thankfully, this is a game that can consume everyone because this is coming to both the Switch and the Switch 2 in winter. Next is another huge announcement that we got, and that's that PowerWash Sim 2 is coming to the Switch in fall 2025. Now, I loved PowerWash Sim, and this looks to be a big upgrade from the first. Not just in all the new levels and the tools that you can use, but also the fact that you can not only have your very own home to decorate, but also the ability to progress in the main mode even when playing multiplayer. I also love the fact that because this is a Switch 2 exclusive right now, the graphics did get a big bump on this console as well. Hopefully down the line they will bring this game to the Switch as well, as I know it's such a beloved franchise and a big cozy gaming favorite. Next is a game I never expected to be in a Nintendo Direct. Let's talk about Stardew Valley. Now, a few weeks ago, we got a tweet from Concerned Ape saying that Stardew 1.7 update will be coming. And this took many of us by surprise because we thought we wouldn't be getting an update after 1.6 until Haunted Chocolatier was already out. But I think after the Nintendo Direct, it started to make a little bit of sense. Because today they announced that there was going to be a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Stardew Valley, which not only introduces the ability to use mouse mode when playing the game, but also allows up to 4 players to play split screen, and the ability to use game share, which means that 4 people can play together with just 1 copy of the game. Now, as of this moment, we have no news if this includes any new content in the 1.7 update, but I'm just glad cozy gamers get to make use of the mouse mode on the Switch 2. Next up is probably the biggest announcement of the entire Direct, and it's safe to say I have some thoughts on it. Let's talk about Poctopia. And this might be the exact game you're looking for to tide you over until the next Animal Crossing game. That is, if you own a Nintendo Switch 2, as it is unfortunately an exclusive. Now, I've been saying for the longest time that I wanted Pokemon to come out with a cozy game, as the Pokemon are just so cute. I just wanted a game where you didn't have to battle them. And Pokemon have finally delivered in a way I wasn't expecting at all. As this sees you play as Ditto morphed into a human, and it's somehow both cute and creepy all at the same time. Now, I'm going to be honest, I actually really like the idea, as this sees you transform the empty landscape into a home for Pokemon. And as Ditto, you can do things like collecting woods, rock, and other crafting materials to try and create a cozy home. But because you're a Pokemon and not an actual human, Ditto is able to learn moves from other Pokemon and use those moves to build a Pokemon paradise. And the more you decorate and transform the island, the more Pokemon that move in and the more moves that you can learn to change up the area. And I do absolutely love the fact that you can make homes for the Pokemon to live in. Now, this game truly has a lot of potential. I just hope they've learnt from Animal Crossing and find a way to make the game loop not only feel fun, but also rewarding. And it even looks as though this game is going to be multiplayer, as one single scene in this trailer shows more than one Ditto character. Now, I think the biggest thing I'm surprised about is the fact that this is a Switch 2 exclusive, because if I'm being completely honest, it doesn't really look like it. It really truly looks like something that could release and be played on the Nintendo Switch. So I don't fully understand this decision. Now, we haven't actually got a release date as of yet. It just says sometime in 2026, which I assume to mean that it's probably going to be sometime later in the year, or at least I hope so. This is such a cool concept and I really want to see it be fleshed out instead of it being a game that gives mobile game vibes, you know? We still have a lot of things we don't know about it yet, like for example if it runs on in real life time or not, and if the game has a story, so hopefully we'll find out more information soon. We also finally got more news about Tomodachi Life. And this is coming out way sooner than I expected, as we got a release date of spring 2026. Now this looks to have all the same character as the last game did, and it looks wonderfully cursed, as you have the ability to make your very own Mii characters that will then go out and live their best lives on the island. And this is a game where you get to help out all of the islanders that you've created, as you get to see what's on their minds and help them solve their problems, watch them interact, and even help them cultivate friendships. And I think this is especially fun when you start to get a little bit creative with who you create for your island. Their voices are also so wonderfully cursed, and I can't wait to see what people go out to do with this game when it's released. And even though I never got to play the last game on the 3DS, I'm very glad that I get the chance to play this one. And don't worry if you don't have a Nintendo Switch 2, it doesn't matter, as this is releasing on the Nintendo Switch, despite it being a 2026 release. We also got a brand new Yoshi game that looks to be wonderfully cozy. And this is called Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, which is also releasing in spring 2026 on the Nintendo Switch 2. And this seems to be a mix between 2D platforming and a little bit of a creature collecting game, as this sees Yoshi jump into a magical book all about magical creatures. And you get to learn more about them by eating them, I think. Now, I love this paper-like art style, and it kind of makes me feel like this is a spiritual successor of Yoshi's Crafted World. But I think my excitement will be determined by what sort of price tag they put on it. Now, even though that's all of the announcements for the Direct itself, we still have more to go through. As just last week, we got a teaser trailer for Disney Dreamlight Valley's brand new expansion pass. And this is called Wish Blossom Ranch. And you really don't have long to wait for this, as this comes out in November. Now, even though this trailer was incredibly short, we did get a fair amount of information about it, as not only will you get the ability to have your very own customizable horse and a brand new area, but there'd also be some brand new characters being introduced as well. And so far we know this to be Snow White, Tinkerbell, and Maximus from Tangled. They also told us that there'd be more information in their showcase on October 15th, where hopefully we'll find out not only more information about the paid DLC, but some of the free updates coming to the game as well, alongside the fact that this is supposedly getting a Switch 2 upgrade at some point. And we can also hope for some news about the Switch 2 port of Disney Dreamlight Valley that is supposedly coming. And before we finish off this video, I thought we'd go through some of the upcoming cozy games in September, because a few of them I've actually got to play beforehand, and I have a little bit extra information about them. First up is Strange Antiquities, releasing September 17th on Nintendo Switch. Now, if you think this game looks familiar, that's because it's effectively a sequel to Strange Horticulture, but this time you're ditching the plants for trinkets. Now, this game is based in the town of Undermere, filled with plenty of strange goings-on and mysteries, which you get to learn all about through your interactions with the customers. And in this game, you run your very own store where people come in the search of strange artifacts. And it's your job to try and match their description to the right one. But your job as a shopkeeper doesn't end at serving customers, as you'll also have to go out and find more artifacts to restore the shop as well. Which means you'll be venturing out with little more than a rumour and a well-loved hand-drawn map to guide you. Now, I got to play this on the Nintendo Switch at Gamescom, and it looked and played great, as effectively you just use the stick as a mouse and play very similarly to the way you'd play on PC. And if you have a PC or Steam Deck, you can actually play the demo for yourselves to see if the game vibes with you. Next up is LEGO Voyagers on September 15th. We only got to see a really small snippet about this in the direct, but it's a game I'm very interested in, as this is a two-person co-op adventure where you get to play as a little one-by-one Lego piece. Now, I did get to play this, but it was on the PlayStation 5, so I can't really speak about how this is going to look like on the Switch, and honestly, annoyingly, they haven't given us much to go by in the trailers either, but I can talk about my experience with the game. This is a co-op game with a ton of character and so much to interact with in the Lego world, as everything is actually made with real Lego pieces. And throughout the world itself, you'll find little puzzles and challenges for you to overcome to progress. And this will see you roll, jump, and even build, as you can use your little Lego body to pick up other Lego pieces and craft a solution to the problems you encounter. I had a lot of fun with the time I had with the game, and I'm honestly on the lookout for as many co-op games as possible, as they're so much fun to play and so hard to find. The final thing I want to talk about today is actually the Hello Kitty DLC, as this is set to release sometime in autumn, which we're entering to autumn fast, so it could be any time from now. Now, the trailer was pretty short, but thankfully the Steam page has a little bit more info, as this will see you enter a brand new world called Wheat Flour after a little potion disaster. And not only will you be getting a brand new world, but there's also a brand new character called Kogamian the Wheat Flour Fairy. Now, this world's a little different from all the others because here you can cast magic by crafting wands, allowing you to transform into little critters. There will also be new items to cook and craft, and new cabins to decorate alongside of brand new minigames. And hopefully we find out about the release date sometime soon. That's everything from me today, but if you want to hear about my favorite cozy games of all time, click this video here.